I see you there, Shannon. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Shannon.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. I think Artist is going to try to come on for a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah. I see Stacy's there. So did you have a busy day?
Yeah, it was pretty busy. I only had to pick up one meat run and then pick up some fencing for they're building new enclosures for
Oh,
the wolves.
okay. Hi, Melissa. Or Militia. And Paul, how are you? And Todd.
It's super windy here.
Is it? I can kind of hear it
Yeah,
actually.
it
I can
was.
hear it a little bit. Not much
Yeah,
though. Yeah.
and it was pretty gnarly on uh, on the freeway.
Is it warm?
Um, yeah, a little bit of wind chill, but it's not freezing.
Yeah.
When I got back to the lodge, to the Wolf Lodge, it started snowing. I'm like, it's too warm for that. What's going on? But it didn't last. It's
Yeah.
just freaky weather.
It's like 15 degrees here today or something like that. But there's still a bit of a chill though in the air for sure. I think we started off at
Yeah.
-5 or something like that this morning. Can't remember exactly, but it was in the minus. So, but yeah, I think we'll just play the video this time. When we do the next live, we'll do what we talked about, and that would be kind of different and interesting. So, there's Dorothy. How you doing, Dorothy? Stacy says it's warm in. Is that Georgia that you're talking? Like I'm not really good at the initials, but I'm taking it as it's Georgia. Yes, yeah. I'm really bad at geography, and here we are talking about geography. But I'm getting better at geography than I used to be. Maybe it was a good thing I wasn't great at geography when I was growing up. Didn't learn as many of the lies.
I didn't do well with geography either.
No. I repeated geography grade 10. The second time around, of course, I got in the 90s, but first time around I didn't do so great. Anyway, okay, I think I'll just go ahead and start it, Shannon. Artist will pop on at some point. At least I think she's going to try to pop on if she's feeling up to it.
Okay.
And then we'll chat after, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. I just have to find my. There we go. Hi, Artist.
Hey,
How are you doing?
all right, can y'all hear me?
We can. We're just going to start the
Awesome.
video, but we'll have a little chit chat with you, and then we'll start the video. Um,
Okay.
yeah, we're just talking about how Shannon's day was and how his weather is there. It's a bit windy where he is. A little bit cool.
Hi, Dorothy. Hey, Stacy. Shannon.
Yeah,
It's
it's
good to
great.
see
It's
see
good to have the
everybody.
yeah, it's good to have the comments come up too before the video goes on. But okay, so we'll do the video and then we'll come back for a chat. And artists, if you need breaks, you do whatever you need to do. Okay.
Yeah, they know I'm dealing with some rough stuff right now, so
Right. Exactly.
I'll hang with y'all as long as I can.
Okay. Here we go.
The priestly customs are the same, okay? Leviticus 20 permitted. We've got the same thing happening, the same dates, and both of them to temple rededications. This is not a coincidence. That's why the calendars line up. You can look no further. The calendars are correct if you're following Yahweh. The priestly customs are the same, okay? Leviticus 21:1, and the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, no one shall make himself unclean for the dead among his people. He shall not go into any undead bodies or make himself unclean, even for his father or for his mother. None of the offsprings of Aaron who has a leprous disease or discharge may eat of the holy things until he is clean. Whoever touches anything is unclean through contact with the dead, a man, or who has an emission of semen." Okay, Numbers 6:1-6 is like, "And Yahweh spake to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, when a man or woman does separate by making a vow of a Nazarite to be separate to Yahweh, all the days that he separates himself to the Lord, he shall not go near a dead body." Okay, so what do we got over here? The burial customs and the pollution of death in ancient Roman burial. Burial customs and the pollution of the death in ancient Rome, even in the imperial civic function. Those who were polluted could not make a sacrifice or legally perform any public offices. That came from Livy. It was therefore very important for priests, particularly the priest of Jupiter, and the other spiritual leaders, as well as those in public office, not to be contaminated by the contact with the dead. The contamination could be incurred by touch, or in the case of the priest, by indirect contact, such as sight of the dead person. Such beings were philosophical groups believed to house the souls of the dead. Priests were not allowed to eat or even touch them. Indeed, they were not supposed to mention them. And then that's from Finney, historian. I gave you reference on that. The concept of pollution of the dead was partially founded on religious beliefs, but the onset was a base of pragmatic consideration, which saw the presence of a dead as having an unhygienic implications. In the course of time, regulations were less strict, applied and replaced measures. By the end of the 2nd century AD, the notion had been significantly weakened. But we have identical priestly laws. And this word, I wanted to go back here and look at this word circuit, because the circuit, which is Galilee, had to do with the chariots and the horses, okay? The earliest chariot races in Rome were those held at two festivals, the Consulua and the Equeria, on the Campus Martis. Most Romans believed that these dated back to the time of Romulus himself and the foundation of Rome. However, by the time Rome became of great importance, these races had declined, and the focus of chariot racing had switched to the circus. The Romans had inherited the idea of a chariot racing in a circus from the Etruscans. In much the same way, the Etruscan gladiatorial combat was originally associated with a religion from a cult of Saturn. So too was their chariot racing. The Etruscans may have raised chariots in honor of Consuls, their god of the underworld. The original idea of racing a circuit, or Galilee, could be that they were circling the mouth of hell. Other theories have included the idea that the races were agrarian festivals linked to the goddess Ceres, the circular course representing the cyclic nature of the agricultural year. But I just wanted to point out that it literally meant circuit, or the racing is like the racing that was in Rome. Okay, now let's look at this ancient map. This is a map of ancient Italy from 800 to 222 BC. Okay, you can purchase this if you want to buy a stack of them for $12 each, and there's another price, but I gave the web address, so if you want to get a copy of this, you can. But it's like, here's the smaller version right here, And I left all this because I want people to see where this stuff is coming from. All right. There's Etruria right there, which is in Luke 3:1. And here's your Galilee right there. It's like you can't make this up. And this is Umbra right here, where the pilot stone was found. And you can go to this website and you can look this and blow it up and look at it. I mean, it is what it is. This is where it happened. What else is interesting is when you blow this up and you compare it to what we have now, they did the same thing. They just repeated it in the Middle East. Because you've got, okay, up here we've got the Nazareth, right there, Nazareth, in the purple. If you follow the arrow down here, there it is in the purple. I color-coded this. Okay, we've got the Galilee in green, and you follow that down, it's the same. You've got the Lake of the Garden, you've got Lake Garda, and you follow the blue. And then you got Genoa right here, and then you have Genoa down here. So the map that we have for the Middle East, they just copied the map that was actually here. It's very interesting. I'm totally just blown out of the water every time I look at this stuff. This, I just blew it up so you can see it better, because it was kind of small on that one, but I wanted to show how proportionate from one map to the other. But when I blow this up, you can really tell that this is almost identical. And this is Syria right here. It's not Syria in Greek, it's Syria. And Luna, I think, is Jericho, because Jericho means moon, the moon, and Luna means moon. They just took everything and superimposed it in the Middle East, I think. Y'all can come to your own conclusions, but this is my conclusion. And they say they don't know what Judas Iscariot meant. Okay, Iscariot, okay, if you go up here to, this is according to the old dictionaries, Ish-Karath was a town in Judea, and Ish was an island near Naples, Italy, and Karat was used for the horse-drawn carrier in the Roman Empire. And I actually did a screenshot of that dictionary right there. It says Ish-Karat is one of the Karat in a town in Judea, Ish an island near Naples. Okay, so it was chariot driver. And we know that Papias says that Judas walked around the world a sad example in piety, for his body having swollen to such an extent that he couldn't pass where a chariot could pass easily, was crushed by a chariot, and his bowels gushed out. And in Acts we have, now this man, it was being Judas, purchased a field with the reward of his iniquity, and falling headlong burst asunder in the midst, and his bowels gushed out. And it was known unto all the dwellers of Jerusalem, insomuch as the field is called in a proper tongue Asadama, and that is to say, the field of blood. And basically what it was is he was a chariot man, and he was probably from, because it meant both, he was from Karath, a town in Italy near Naples. And here's a picture of it, and this is where it was located. It's an island of Ischia, Campania region of southern Italy, and it lies northwest of the entrance of Bay of Naples, opposite Cape Messino, and just southwest of Naples. It's oblong in shape. It's about 21 miles in an area of about 18 square miles. The island consists entirely of volcanic rock at Mount Epimo, I think is how you say that, an extinct volcano. The date of the first eruption is estimated to be about 2200 BC, with an eruption in the 7th century BCE. The Roman scholar Pliny the Elder drove away the first Greek settlers and another in 470 BC, but the Syracusan garrison to fight. There were several eruptions in Rome. So he was talking about the eruptions when they occurred. And so this would have been Escarit right here. And it's in Italy. Record mention of the chariots of iron too in Judges 1:19. And Jehovah is with Judah, and he occupied the mountain, but not to dispossess the inhabitants of the valley, for they have chariots of iron. So he is making a distinction between the ones with the chariots of iron. And the word Phiram itself comes from the Semitic languages via Etrustia. So they even know where the language came from, the Etruscans. And it meant brass, or brass chariots. Emperor Claudius in the Etruscan language. Claudius I was a very important emperor who greatly expanded the territories of Rome. He was also fascinated with the Etruscans, and is believed he was a descendant from the noble family from Etruria. He composed a history of them in 21 volumes and a dictionary of their language. Sadly, this work have all been lost, and this means the ancient people of northern Italy remain somewhat mysterious. So we don't know who these people were. Maybe they were the Jews, the actual Jews. And this was an actual chariot they found, and it's from 6th century BC, the second quarter of 6th century BC. But I find it real interesting that, all this ties together. And in Acts 12:12, this is a location. That doesn't mean that they called John the name Mark. Because when I broke down this scripture, we have in English, and when they had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. Okay? Well, when I looked at it, I said, have seen others also both stay here at the house of Mary, the mother, John's mother, that is called Mark's Square, where they were present. See, this is telling you where they are. Macron was actually Mark's Square. And Mark's Square is still there in Venice, Italy. And it's still known by the same thing. They were praying at Mary's at Mark's Square. She must have been living at Mark's Square. I'm just amazed when I look at this stuff. And this is named Macron, okay, this square in Venice. And look at the flag. It's still the symbol for Mark. The windows are the same. Macron is a commune in the metropolitan city of Venice, the region of Veneto, northern Italy, is where Mark's Square is. And we know that. And they even called him the Macron, which is the same word for Mark's Square. More proof. Deuteronomy 22:8. When you build a new house, then you shall make a parapet for your roof, so that you do not bring blood guilt on your house when one falls from it. Okay, a parapet is a low wall at the edge of the balcony or the roof. And when you look in Italy, all the houses have these parapets. And it was because it was written in the law that they have them. I mean, I couldn't make all this up. This is the Roman baths. This is an old place, and this is an ancient Roman villa. And you can see there's the parapets on all the roofs. The actual Lorica Plumata, the vest for the Roman soldiers, is mentioned in Psalms 91:4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shall you trust. His truth, the shield and the buckler. So he's talking about a shield, a buckler, and a war vest. And their vests match what we have in the Old Testament. This is wild. This is known to be the only surviving Roman scutum or shield that there is. Now, of all these Roman soldiers, you know there had to be more. They had to have destroyed them. But this is the shield. And look at what's on it. And this is what got me. It's like you got angels and trumpets and eagles and the Lion of Judah. There's just no mistake in this. You know, it's like this has to be the same things. I just can't believe this is the only one that's surviving that they have of the ancient ones. The hundreds and hundreds of bathhouses in Italy. Now, what do they do? The Jewish people do? The mikvahs. It's like this, everything fits Italy. It fits it exactly. Like this is an article, wasn't too long ago, September 21, women's ritual baths closed by Jerusalem chief rabbi due to promiscuity. But you have the same kind of bathhouses, exactly the same that we had in Rome. But you don't see all this number of ancient ones in the Middle East like you see in Italy. I mean, the thing is covered in ancient bathhouses. Great divide between the Gentiles and the Jews. Okay, where does this come from? I think it came from the gens, or the gents. It was a Roman, Italic, or Etruscan family consisting of individuals who shared the same nomen or name and claimed descent from a common ancestor. The distinguishing characteristic of the gens, the nomen genticum, Gentile name. It's even called a Gentile name. So the gens, or gents, of the Roman Empire were your Gentiles. Every member of the gens, whether by birth or adoption, bore the same name. All nomen were based on their nouns as a personal name, occupation, physical characteristics, or behaviors or location. You can continue to read all this, but it's basically telling you that the Gentile name is the gens. Okay? And we look at the Sanhedrin 59A2, and I gave you the web address. You can go look at that and read it directly off of Sefaria. Rabbi Yohanan says a Gentile who engages in Torah study is liable to receive the death penalty as stated. Moses commanded us the law, or the Torah, an inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. Okay, so any of the Gentile reading the Torah study would have been liable for a death penalty. But these are the Roman people. Julius was from the Old Latin Eovis, descending or pertaining to Jehovah, or Yahweh, Jehovah's, the ancient Greek Aeolus, downy first beards of hair, or young man is what it meant. But it was, Julius was a Roman nomen or name for Gentile, or a gens. See, they even know it here. This is from Wiki about the family surname. But you can tell that it says Gentile or gens. Same thing. When you look at the coins from 270 to 73 AD, they were separatist. Okay, the genitives were, let's see, where is it? It was a conflict of orders, like a political thing. It was a social class, a monolithic social class of people. It's like the way it was divided. The Pharisee and the gens is a Roman thing. It's not a Middle Eastern thing. The whole Jewish insurrection at the time of Vespasian was clearly a religion, ethnic separatist movement. Boeotia revolt in 60 AD is another example of an ethnic revolt against the Roman rule, they say. But the Pharisees and the gens are both Romans. It's a civil war. They would separate out elites and commoners in ancient Rome. The plebeians were called the plebes, and they were generally the body of free Roman citizens who were not patricians or determined by the census, in other words, commoners. Both classes were hereditary. The conflict and struggle of orders was a political struggle between the plebeians, or the commoners, and the patricians, the aristocrats. So basically what you have is your Pharisee, which is your aristocrats, and your Gentiles, which is your commoners and clan people. And it was a big fight between what you were born as. Basically, the plebeians were excluded from magistracies and religious colleges. See, they were trying to keep certain ones separated away from the religious part and only allow certain ones to be religious leaders. The Pharsalia, or the Pharisee. Del Bellio Silvia on the Civil War, more commonly referred as the Pharsalia, is a Roman epic poem written by Lucian, detailing the civil war of Julius Caesar and the forces of the Roman Senate, led by Pompey the Great. The poem title is reference to the Battle of the Pharsalus, or the Pharisee, which occurred in 48 BC, near Pharsala Talasia. I can't pronounce it, man. My pronunciation is terrible. I'm sorry, guys. Especially, I lost a tooth, and I've got to get something done about it, but it's giving me a lisp. So if I sound funny, it's because I have a lisp until I get that tooth repaired. Caesar decisively defeated Pompey in this battle, which occupies all the epic 7 books. In the early 20th century, translator Duff, while arguing there's no reason for judgments, can rank Lucian among the world's greatest epic poets, noting that his work is notable for Lucian's decision to eschew divine intervention and downplay supernatural occurrences in the events of the story. But he's basically just telling us what was going on between the Pharsalia and the Gentiles. It's like it was like a war between the gens and the Pharisees. This got me questioning the dates on stuff, and I don't know still. I'm kind of caught in a rock and a hard place. The Ficus ruminalis was the wild fig tree that had a religious and mythological significance in ancient Rome. So all this fig tree stuff comes from Rome. It stood near a small cave known as the Lyperical at the foot of Palatine Hill, which would have been in Rome, and was the spot where, according to tradition, the floating makeshift cradle of Romulus and Remus landed on the banks of the Tiber. Okay, so it's associated with the legend of Romulus and Remus, and there was on the banks of the Tiber where they were abandoned, and it's thought to be located in the Verbum, a short distance from the Lyperical. The tree offered the twins shade and shelter in the suckling of the she-wolf, just outside the nearby cave, the Lyperical Cave. And I have a picture here of that. Until their discovery and fostering by the shepherd Faustius and his wife Achaia Laurentia, I think is how you pronounce that. Remus was eventually killed by Romulus, who would found Rome on the Palatine Hill above the cave. So this actually occurred right here. This Palatine Hill right there. And this is where Rome was founded, was in Palatine. Okay. And they say Jesus died in 33 AD. Then we have Suetonius mentioning Christ in Rome between 41 and 54 AD after the Ascension date. And in 58 AD, the fig tree is withered in Rome. And James the Just died in 62 AD. So that's why I think he was the Christ one. Because this would have even fit the fig tree withering in Rome. Because the fig tree is a Roman thing. And I think that and I don't want anybody to lose their faith over this. It's like, I'm going to tell you right now, Jesus is real. But there were two Jesuses in the New Testament. Everybody hates me for saying it, but it's true. You have Jesus bar Abba, who was Jesus, son of the Father, and you have Jesus called the Christ. And Christ was either a proper noun or it could be a proper name. And it also meant Messiah, like for the Jewish Messiah, a political king that was anointed by the elders and the priest. And it could not have called Jesus the Christ because he would have had to have been anointed as king by the elders, and that never happened. But the dates are off somehow. I don't really think they're off. I think that James the Just was actually the Christ, the one that Jesus called the Christ, and there was the one that came from Father in heaven, which was Jesus bar Abba, and bar Abba means son of the Father. Now I've done videos on that, so go and watch them. Don't let this let you lose your faith. The truth will set us free. It sets us free from lies. And he said that we'd know the truth and the truth would set us free, and I think we're getting it. I'm going to butcher a lot of these words, but I'm trying. The statue of the she-wolf was supposed to have stood next to the ficus, or the fig tree. In 296 BC, the Curia, Atlas, Gallienus, and Quintus Agunus, I can't pronounce that, images of Romulus and Remus as babies suckling from under her teats. It may be a sculpture group that is associated on the coins. The Augustan historian Livy says that the tree stood in his day. So he's recorded that it was literally there in his day. But his younger contemporary Ovid observes only a vestigial traces, perhaps the stump. A textual problematic passage in Finney seems to suggest that the tree was miraculously transplanted by the augur Augustus Novus to the Comitatum. The fig tree, however, was the Ficus navidium, and it was called the augur. Tacitus refers to it as the Ficus navidia and the Arbor Rumulus, as identification that suggests it replaced the original Ficus rumulus, either symbolically or after the older tree's demise, or literally having been cultivated by an offshoot. The Ficus navidium grew from the spot that it had been struck by lightning and was thus regarded as sacred. Any obscure reference may be to the statue of Atenius Navidia in front of the Curia Hostilla. He stood in the letus, raised in an attitude that was connected to the Ficus Navidia, and accompanying representation of the she-wolf to the Ficus rumulus, as if the tree had crossed from one space to another. Where the Ficus navidia drooped, it was taken as a bad omen for Rome. When it died, it was replaced. In 58 AD, it withered, but then revived and was put forth new shoots, Okay, here's a relief by the Institute of Study for Ancient World from New York, United States of America, the Pluity of Trajan. Okay, on the front here we have, there's the fig tree in Rome. See it right there? And then you have all the dignitaries and stuff around it. But this was a big deal. And this withered in 58 AD. Here are scriptural accounts. Mark 11:11. And Jesus entered into Jerusalem, into the temple, and when he looked around, and upon all things, now eventide was come, he went out unto Bethany with the 12. And on the morrow they were come from Bethany, he was hungry. And seeing a fig tree afar off, having leaves, he came to, happily he might find something thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of the figs had not yet come. And Jesus answered and said to no man eat fruit of thee thereafter forever. And the disciples heard it. Okay? And they had come to Jerusalem. Jesus went into the temple and began to cast out them that sold and bought in the temple, overthrew the tables, the money changers, and the seats of them that sold doves, and would not suffer that any man should carry the vessel through the temple. And he taught, saying unto them, It is not written, My house shall be called of all nations a house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And the scribes and the chief priests heard it, and sought how they might destroy him, for they feared, because of all the people was astonished at his doctrine. And when evening had come, and they went out of the city, and in the morning they come back, and they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from its roots. And Peter, calling to remembrance, said of him, Master, behold, the fig tree which thou cursed is withered away. And Jesus answered him, said, Have faith in God. For verily, in the end I shall say to you, that whomever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast in the sea, and thou shalt not doubt in his heart, shall believe that those things which he said shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. So this is very big statements about it. And the mountains, be thou removed, were removed. Everything was moved. Everybody says that the Old Testament is a monotheistic book, but it's not. I wanted to show you where there's a goddess in Isaiah 7:14 that was worshipped in Rome and is also in the text. And this is a biggie verse because a lot of people know this for, being the Mary, or think it's it actually indicates the birth of Jesus Christ and what they think. But when I analyzed 17, it's like they have, therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive, bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Okay, what I get when I look at the actual Hebrew is, therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign, and it is the maiden Hannah and her son, and read his name Emmanuel, are our people, the name Hashem. Okay, this is pretty interesting because when I check every word, and I go to Demorphix and check it, and I check it at different translators too, to see what I get, and that way I can. But when I check it in a regular one, and you put this word right here, Herna, it comes out Herna. Okay, and they have it as maiden, but it's actually Herna. It's the goddess Herna. So I got that she's gonna give son to one that will, that'll be named Hashem, which is wild, because this is the name Hashem right there. And most people don't see that, but I'm going to show you how they are still worshiping this deity today. So when you go and look at the Greek, it also is the same thing, because Herna bears the title of Parthenos, and that's what we have in the Greek is Parthenos. So you get the same thing when you go to the Greek as you do in the Hebrew. see, Parthenos, and they say it's a virgin, but they don't tell you in Strong's or Thayer's that it's also Herna. You have to just kind of know that. She was an Olympian, queen of the gods, queen of heaven, was considered a virgin, a creatrix. She was Greek goddess primarily, but it's actually in the text, in both the Greek and the Hebrew. What we had in Rome was Jupiter or Zeus, but Jupiter is pronounced Yahweh. It's Yehovah, and it's the same as Yahweh. He was the king of all gods. Jupiter was equivalent to the Greek Zeus, the god of the sky, lightning and thunder. And it says in the Old Testament he's wrapped in lightning, like when you read 2 Samuel 22. He was said to have had 2 brothers and 3 sisters, and their father was Saturn, who passed away, and his 3 sons, Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto, divided the world up, and with Jupiter claiming the heavens. The Romans saw him as a protector of all the laws in the state, with the time being at a place of a state of business and sacrifices. So they were giving sacrifices to him, and also he was the keeper of the law, which goes right along with the Old Testament. Juno, or Herna, because she's known by both names, was the queen of all deities. Juno, the wife and sister of Jupiter. So this was his wife and our sister. She was the protector of Rome. Differing from the Greek counterpart, instead of being a jealous queen, Juno was a beloved goddess of marriage, overlooking women, particularly those who were married, protecting them. And on the 1st of March, there was a large feast dedicated to her, and she was one of the most anticipated events in ancient times. The Vestals guarded the sacred objects of Herna, the Vestals Penis, including the Palladium, which was a statue of the phallus Athena. See this thing right here? That's it right there. And to me, I think this is probably the rod of buds, that they talk about in the Old Testament. And it was supposed to have been brought from Troy, and presumably a wood phallus used in fertility rites, and at least one triumphal procession, perhaps a slug beneath the triumphal general's chariot. So they carted it around and had like this big feast thing and all that to it, like the big festivals and stuff. We see many remnant symbols of her, like the Statue of Liberty. Here's an old one of the goddess, and here's another one. Like I said, she's equated with Herna, the queen of the gods, in Greek mythology, and is the goddess of love and marriage. I'm probably going to butcher this, people, but I'm going to try. The name Juno was also thought to be connected to Iov. This is from Wiki. This is some more information on her. As Diano or Dievo or Diana at the beginning of the 20th century, derived was purpose from Venus, which is youth, and was syncopated with the heifer, or the other youth word. The etymology is widely accepted after this guy here, George Westlaw, related it to the Latin ion through the common Indo-European root. So they kind of had to go around and figure who this was. But basically, on your statues and stuff today, if you visit Rome, you're going to see Juno. But Shanika is also, it's another word for Juno. It means the same thing. It means queen of heaven, which is the queen of the Jews, is Shanika. I'm going to show you how they're still worshiping her today, too. In some inscriptions, Jupiter herself is called Unitus, which is one of the epitaphs of Jupiter Avist, a superlative form of Iluin, which means the youngest. She's one of the two deities that refused to leave the capital when the building of the new temple of a capital Jehovah or Yahweh required an excavation of deities who already occupied the site. So I guess they took those out and put in these two. Juno is equivalent to Herna, the Greek goddess of love and marriage. Juno is a Roman goddess of love and marriage, so they're both the same. Ancient etymologies associate Juno's name with erere, which is to aid or benefit, and rejuvenate, sometimes connecting it to the renewal of the new and waxing moon, which is where they get their moon worship. Shanika, or Et Yehov, Asherah, Inna, Shanaka, means who dwells. Et Hov means, oh, that's one. And Asherah means, and Emma means mother. So that's where they get the words for them. You know, one of them meaning who dwells, one meaning that's one, and one meaning mother. Shanika is spelled Shanikai or Shanikai, and is known in Kabbalah as the ancient form of the Jewish mysticism and is called the Shanika in Arabic as well. But given the accent of Shanika or Shanikaya is according to the Jewish way of calling the alphabet Shin and Shini as Shin. Shanika is one of the emanations of God and is the actual presence of God according to Judaism. See, it's like in Judaism, this person right here is deified. The belief was that one could see God in its fullness, they could not see the God, but they could see the emanation of the God, the Shanika. When Moses asked to see God, it was the Shanika that he saw. Shanika is also the cohort or bride of God. As such, she is the mother to us all, just as the God is our father according to Jewish thought. Okay, y'all know I don't believe that, and the Et Havo is another name for Shanika as a feminine divine essence. In Kabbalah, Et stands for Aleph to Tav, the 1 to 22, like the Alpha to Omega. It stands for the same thing. Here, Et refers to a song itself in the ultimate speech of hymn or prayer. According to the notes of Daniel Shanan Matt's translation, the passage from the Zohar is recited in the Sephardic liturgy on the Sabbath Eve. So on the Sabbath Eve, they have a prayer they say to her, to the Shanika, which is Herna. So it makes sense that Herna is in Isaiah. Herna is the third Greek goddess to have borne the title Parthenos. Legends and cultic activities concerning the Olympian queen of gods indicate, in her earliest form, she was likened unto Athena, Artemis, which was considered the great virgin creatrix. So she was like the virgin creator deity. Her icon is usually, she's as a matriarch, like a mature woman, and upright enthroned with crowns and a diadem. Sometimes she has a veil, like a married person. She's a patron of goddess of lawful marriage. She presides over weddings, blessings, legalizes marital unions, and protects women from harm during childbirth. Her sacred animals were the cow, the cuckoo, and the peacock. She is sometimes shown holding a pomegranate and the emblem of immortality. And her Roman counterpart, of course, is Juno. So it's the same deity. It's like Jesus Barabba told us that we would know the truth and the truth would set us free. It's like everything that I have learned has been pointed directly from him. And it's like when he was saying that he Of those born of women, none was greater than John the Baptist, but the least in heaven will be greater than him. He was letting you know he was not born of a virgin. That in Herna's the queen of heaven and earth and the underworld. She's like, she's in the Parthenon of the Greek Parthenon. So the Jews are literally worshiping the Greek Parthenon. And this is an article on her here. You can read it if you want to. It's just an abstract about her. It's the feminine origin of all things. Queen of the gods. Queen of heaven. She's got all those titles. Here we have the Argento, Italy temple to her. And there's another temple at Pompeii. There's a fresco of her at Pompeii. Let's see, and mentioned in 2 Maccabees, not long after this, the king sent to Athena's senator to compel the Jews to forsake the laws of their fathers and cease to live in the laws of God, and also to pollute the temple in Jerusalem, which is called the Temple of Olympian or Zeus. Gee, I wonder why they took 2 Maccabees out, you know? But I just wanted to point that out. And point out that there are temples to her there, and there is frescoes and stuff. And this is a screenshot of them talking about her on Tanakh Talk. In the women's world, Tanakh Talk. Okay, and here's the Herna, the daughter of Kronos and Re, was associated with all aspects of the life of women, the goddess of women, marriage, and childbirth. She's known by the Romans as Juno. I've already told you that, but I'm just going to repeat it. Here's the link if you want to go see this video. Here's at time marker 1532. Now we as women in the Tannan, and there's something really beautiful that happens on the Sabbath, and it's the Shalah, the Shabbat Queen, which means the woman of valor, which is something that is sung on every era of the Shabbat, on every Friday evening, as it originated in the mystics of spots and specifically students of the Rabbi Isaac Luria, which is our Haria, which means the lion, as a way of greeting the Shanika, the divine presence, and we say the Shabbat Queen. So the Kabbalists explain that the Shabbat night is referred to as the queen as the Eshelah, which is in the Talmud. So we sing the Eshelah to welcome the Shabbat Queen. So it's a way of expressing the gratitude to the women of the house to sing praises on her Friday night after she worked tireless. And I know that the Shabbat is like, there's always that pre-Shabbat prep, and it's like prepping for Thursday and Friday comes. It's like a rush, and you'll trying to get everything done so you can be ready to shut down. And so it's like you get into it, and it's like in the end of that segment. But it's like you can see that she's clearly talking about the same deity. And every Shabbat on Friday night, they do this singing and this greeting prayer thing to her. And y'all can go watch that. And this is around time marker 1704, when we can greet the Shabbat Queen in royal fashion. Shalah says she rises when it is still night. She gives food to her household, and then the allotted share to her maidens, which comes from Proverbs 31:15. The blessing of the food and the household comes from Shabbat. Yes, sitting around the Shabbat table and being sung is just a really beautiful and welcoming the Shabbat Queen. You know, we've already lit our candles and we're sitting at the table and we're ready to do Kadosh. You know, we do kitchens and blessings everywhere, wine, and then we sing the Eshelah. It's like our start. I mean, we've already been in Shul, and we're already said in our prayers, and then we're just continuing on in the welcoming of the Shabbat Queen. So they welcome this deity into their home on the Friday nights. When I saw this, I was like, wow. It goes right along with what I found. And Juno is also found on the Juno the Savior coin, denarius, and this is from 105 BC. I just thought I'd show you that she's also honored on the money from back way before Jesus' time. This is going to get deep, guys. This is a lot of stuff. Okay, when we go talk about pantheon, we're told that it means many gods, and the pantheon building is to many gods. I don't think that's true, because the word they have for many in the Greek text is pan. It is not every would be kath. So pan and theon means God. So this is actually a building to the pan god, or the god of the underworld. Luke 1:27, I think, alludes to this. We have in English in our text, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. Okay, when I looked at the Greek, it says at or near the Pantheon. Right here would have been in Rome. The man, or Andre, whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and of the Parthenu, which is a maiden, Miriam. So we have actually Miriam, we have Joseph, and the Parthenon was to give a souvenir. He was to give a souvenir. So what it's literally saying is, Andre, whose name was also Joseph, was to give a souvenir at the Parthenon, or Pantheon, and he was of the house of David, and the name of the maiden he was giving it to was Miriam. I don't even think this has to do with him being espoused. It had something to do with giving a souvenir, which could have been a betrothal, because the word derives from engagement or betrothal. I meant to say that too. When I was looking at that souvenir thing, it's like I went and looked to see if they had any souvenirs way back then, because I thought, why am I coming up with souvenir? And it's like souvenirs were omnipresent facet of the modern tourism in ancient Mediterranean, and especially the Roman Empire. They had all kinds of souvenirs, and it was a flourishing thing. Archaeology, they've dug up a bunch of them. But I found this article on it, so if y'all want to read that, you're welcome to, but I just wanted to show you that, there was souvenirs. So, makes sense. And I kept digging, and it said that the Roman souvenirs were purchased by individuals for whom the objects themselves, the places they commemorated, and relationships. So it probably was a betrothal souvenir that was mentioned in Luke. And it's really interesting too about the name Parthenon. The Greek word is an unmarried woman's apartment house, is what it was. And the Parthenon's case seems to have been used at first only for a particular room of the temple. The epithet Parthenos meant maiden or girl, and that's where they got the virgin or unmarried woman. And so the Parthenos has also been applied to the Virgin Mary, Parthenos Maria, they call her in the Latin. So all this ties together. Parthenu ties into and it can also be a surname down here in Luke 1:27 for Miriam. I looked into that too, and I was very interested in what I found. I think Parthenu was a surname, not a virgin, because Miriam was Herod's wife in real life. Herod faced a volatile situation, exploited to his advantage. Indeed, it was no coincidence that the Romans entrusted the throne of Judea to Herod the Great at the close of 40 BCE, in the year of the Parthian conquest. During the campaign, the Parthians installed Agabus, son of the Aristobulus II, as scion of the Hashemite dynasty, the king of Judea. Herod fled to Rome to use his event to make a bid for kingship. He sought out Antony and underscored the Parthian threat, and threw a bribe for good measures. As the ancient sources make it clear, the strategy worked. The Parthian actions motivated the Senate to make him Herod the Great, king. In this situation, Herod is best seen as a manipulator of Rome's confrontation with Parthia to his own advantage. Well, he married one named Miriam also, and it's like we know that Herod was Jewish, so this plays into the plot of what happened with Herod. It's like Herod and Miriam were families merging. Herod was particularly gifted with military leader and politician, and his power quickly grew. In 42 BC, he solidified his position. Herod, whose Idumean heritage was viewed with suspicion by many Jews, decided to garner more local legitimacy by marrying into the Hashemite family. He was already married to a Jewish woman named Doris, but his second wife, he chose Miriam, the Greek form of the Hebrew name Miriam. See, it's the same name right here. Some called Miriam, and was the daughter of Alexander, the eldest son of Aristobulus II, and Alexander, daughter of Hyrcanus. In other words, Miriam could claim Hashemite lineage on both her mother and father's side. The betrothal took place when Miriam was around 12. Herod was around 32. In 40 BCE, Judah was briefly retaken by the Romans by Antigonus, the son of Aristobulus, and backing of the Parthians who ruled Persia at the time of Herod, who had taken his father's place as regent, but was declared by Rome to be Judea's rightful king, or Rex. Reconquered Judea on behalf of Rome, retaken Jerusalem in 37 BCE, then he handed Antiochus over to the Romans for execution. In the middle of the siege of Jerusalem, Herod took a break to marry his betrothed bride, Miriam, now 17 years old. Their marriage produced 5 children, some of whom would survive to become the founding members of the Hashemite Herodian family who ruled Judea as the client kings of Rome until 70 CE, until the major thing with the temple. But think about what this is saying for a minute. It's like, this could be the same person. Mary in scriptures could be Herod's wife that Joseph was meeting with the souvenir. This is from Wiki. Miriam II was the third wife of Herod the Great. She was the daughter of Simon Brothus and high priest. Josephus recounts their wedding thus. There was one Simon, a citizen of Jerusalem. Simon, that's the name we know. The son of Brotheus, a citizen of Alexandria, and a priest of the great note there. So Simon was also a priest, which I think Simon Peter was a priest. This man had a daughter who was esteemed the most beautiful woman at that time, when the people of Jerusalem began to speak with much in her condemnation. It happened that Herod was much affected with what was said of her, and he saw the damsel. He was smitten with her beauty, yet he entirely rejected the thoughts of using his authority to abuse her, as believing what was the truth, that by doing so he should be stigmatized for violence and tyranny. So he thought it best to take the damsel to wife. And while Simon was a dignity too inferior to be allied with him, but still too considerate to be despised, govern the inclinations after the most prudent manner, after augmenting the dignity of the family and making them more honorable. So he immediately deprived Jesus, the son of Faith, the high priest, and conferred the dignity on Simon, and so joined in affinity with him by marrying his daughter. She had one child by Herod called Herod II, Herod Brosus, who married his niece Herodias, and by their daughter Salome. Miriam II was implicated in the plot of Antipater against her husband in 4 BC, and as a result Herod divorced her and removed her father, Simon Brothus, as high priest. Additionally, her son Herod II was removed from the line of succession in Herod's last will. Very interesting. And I think Udine was right up here in Italy, right there. Okay. It was first attested in Latin, they say, in 983, but I think it goes way further back than that. It was a pre-Roman origin. Indo-European, Udine. I think it's the same thing, and I think that's probably where Herod was from. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. I think that's it. See, Rome would be right here, and he reclaimed Rome for, reclaimed this area for Rome, I think. And it's very interesting. I mean, when you see some of the ancient art that's there, this is about from 1st century too. It's the Star of David's, and you've got angels and wreaths. This is like a bath or a well. And then you've got the eagle for the coat of arms, and it's called Aquileia. But I think that was actually Udine right in this area. This is in the Museum Aquileia in Italy. It's a display of the mosaic floor. And it's from 1st century, Star of David. And there were Stars of David discovered by the archaeologist Miriam Evezar. And see, that's a Latin name. It's like, I think all this is tied together. And I think that right up in here is where Udine or Judea was. There, and I think some of them were down here too. I'll show that later in another video. And in that artwork mosaic, we find these things that go along with the Yuval, which is the date palm and one of the 4 species used for the holiday festival of Sukkot, and the species of the myrtle, the willow tree. They're bound together in this thing here. That looks very similar to what that's holding there. And the Torah mentions the commandments to obtain a Yuval during the Sukkot holiday, and it's in Leviticus 23:40. You shall take on the first fruits of the goodly trees, the branches of the palm trees, and the bros thick trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before Yahweh your God 7 days. And in the oral Torah, the Mishnah comments that the biblical command for the Yuval, along with other 3 species for the holiday of Sukkot. And it was also done in the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. But this is, to me, this looks just like what that is. Jewish Sukkot stuff. Have other evidence in Italy also of this theme. It's like on the floor design found in the house of Jupiter or Yahweh in Pompeii, you have these winged half serpent, half blazed up angel looking scorpion thing. See the legs? One of them looks like a scorpion, then you have an angel, then you have another angel coming down with something. They say it's Osana. It's characterized by the hunter Orion, the son of the sea god Neptune. But I don't see anything tying this to Neptune here. To me, it speaks more like about Deuteronomy 8:15, who led you through the great and terrifying wilderness with its fiery serpents and scorpions and thirsty ground where there was no water, and brought you out of the water, out of the flinty rock. And but this Osan also goes back to Jupiter, because it says that it explains that it angered the goddess Gaia, sending out scorpions to kill him. But Jupiter, god of the sky and thunder, gives Orion wings like a butterfly and leaves the crystalline, and he arises above Earth, represented by a snake, into the firmament, metamorphizing into the constellations. I think all this is tied exactly together with Scripture. Something else I think is curious in front of the Pantheon is there is a mastaba, a pillar that's the grave of Rachel. If you look in Genesis 35:20, and Jacob set a pillar or mastaba upon the grave, that the pillar or mastaba of Rachel's grave is there unto this day. In other words, they're telling us it'll still be there. And the reason I think that the Pantheon is where this might be resting is because both of her children were evidently from Pan, because they were both satyrs in the Hebrew text of the Old Testament. And Mastaba meaning house of stability or house of eternity or eternal house in ancient Egyptian is what it meant. And it's like it was like a monument to somebody that had passed away. But I believe that's it right there, right in front of the Pantheon in Rome, Italy. Talk a little bit about the Vatican. Vaticor is connected, the etymology is connected to Vaticor, which means to prophesy. And it's from the Latin. Vaticani is the Vatican, Vatican City, the papacy. They consider it a lot of different things. But you can see all the spellings here: Vaticano, Vaticano, Vaticane, Vatici, Vaticum. Even depending on what case it is, it has different spellings. And it's an alternate form of Vaticanus also. It's from the word Vates, which is a seer, a soothsayer, or a prophet, and Kano, which means to sing, recite, or foretell, or predict, or prophesy. So this goes right along with the Old Testament too, because it's full of prophets and prophesying. So, Vatican's place comes from the Latin verb vaticor, which is to prophesy or foresee. It's a place where the Vates, or the prophets, made their arguments. So the Vatican is the hill of the prophets, is what it literally means. Okay, and you know Jesus told us in Luke 13:34, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killest the prophets and stonest them that are sent to thee, how often I would have gathered thy children together as a hen doth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not. So he's talking about a place of the prophets also. Where does this come from? You know, in our Old Testament, the Greek, according to the text of the Codex of Vatica. Okay, Vatica is the same as Vatica in the Latin, and she goddess of the underworld. This is an image of the Etruscan goddess Vatica, right here with the horns. That's her, who kept the necropolis of the city of the dead, which is interesting, where the Vatican is today. And you know, down under the altar and all in St. Peter's is all those crypts with the popes, and Peter's bones are right under the altar. and then you've got other tombs down in there. That's exactly where this came from. And we call our Old Testament Septuagint the text of the Codex Vatican. And this is Vatican. This gets very interesting. Because in John 5:2 we have, now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep pool, which is called in Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. This is where the guy wanted to be let down in the water when the water stirred up so he could be healed, and then Jesus heals him. Okay, John is telling us where he's at. The word in Greek is probatikos. Okay, pro means in front of, and batikos is the Vatikanos. Okay, because historical linguists will tell you, like in the Latin tongue to the English, a lot of times the V and the B are interchangeable. So this B translates to a V, and the K to a C. So that's Vatikanos. They were in front of the Vatican, this place that had the healing. Pretty interesting, huh? And this is a little write-up on the changes from B to V, you know. So if you want to read it, you can. And here's an old map from 1886 denoting the ancient iniquity of Rome. And you can see the campus Vaticanus is here. And another old map I have has it stretching all the way across. But right here would be where that temple was. Right there on that island. This is just a little bit more close up so you can read it. And you'll notice here, this is Nero's Circus was right here. There's the Mount Vaticanus and the Mausoleum of Hadriana. Then when you look down here, here's the island with the temple and the place with the where the water stirred up. Looking in context, we have after that there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there was at Jerusalem, but in front of the Vatican, a pool which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. And you'll see this Ager Vaticanus on this map. That is the Sheepgate Field, or the Vatican Field, one of the two. And I'm going to stop it here, I think, and because we're at 2 hours, and I'm probably going to take the rest of the slides over and do another section, so so that we don't get too much on one video. I hope that makes sense to y'all. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, and I hope it makes sense. And you're starting to see what I'm seeing, that actually Jerusalem is actually Rome. Thank you for watching.
And there we go. That's the last
Wow,
of that
that was
series.
cool.
Yeah, that's the last of that series. But I did realize that there is one more that she did, and that was on the Jerusalem part of it. We can do that another time, though. Like, we can carry on with the other series if you guys want to, and then we'll come back to that sometime.
How long is that's that one that you're talking
The
about?
Jerusalem one, I think it's a shorter one. I'll just look here, but if I can find it. But
You don't have to mess
it's
with
2
it.
hours. It's 2 hours. We did that one 2 months ago, actually. So, people can actually just go back and look at that one because it wasn't that long ago.
Cool.
Yeah, and we'll bring the AI stuff back up again after this one. But that was pretty interesting, guys? There was a few things that I caught that are kind of funny, but there was the Statue of Liberty. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos that are going around right now about the Statue of Liberty being loaded onto a cargo ship and taken back to France or wherever, whoever it was that gave it to the United States. Have you seen that?
No.
Now, it looks like an absolute real video, but it's obviously AI. I mean, I haven't heard anything about it other than just these TikTok videos. But I did see it. I did see a video that they loaded it back up, and I did hear conversations about, because there's all kinds of ridiculous conversations going on right now with all the things going on in the world. But yeah, they were like upset with the United States, so they're taking back their gift. So I thought that was kind of. But there is. She did mention something about the Statue of Liberty. It was funny.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just let me see. There was something else here. Did you guys think it was like it's weird that we have never caught on to, especially with artists' information here, that we've never caught on to. You know, if you're still believing in the one Jesus, that we've never caught on to the fact that the stories of Jesus, in my mind, in my perception, growing up, of anything that I did see, was that he was kind of a poor man. He was, humble means. They didn't have a lot. They walked pretty much everywhere, according to what I'm hearing. And he, he was a poor carpenter kind of guy. Or his father was a carpenter, and he was a carpenter, I guess. But when I hear artist stuff here, I see that this other Jesus, the Christ one, he's kind of a, to me it sounds like he's more rich than poor. According to the Pantheon or whatever it was, and the souvenirs and the things that you see that they've done. He even went to college. Like, he was even sent to wherever it was he went to learn all the stuff about the scriptures and stuff like that. That's not a poor man wouldn't have that education, there's just so many differences and things that I just sort of, maybe it isn't even relevant, but it's things that I've picked up watching these kinds of things. And how they were talking about Joseph and Miriam. It just seems kind of weird that it sounds like there's a rich one and a poor one. I know that our father's not poor, but he was very, very humble, and he didn't need anything, and he didn't even eat the food of the earth, and so there's so many differences. But and
I know there's a
yeah, go ahead.
there's a theory that you're talking about, James the Just, right?
Mm-hmm.
JC.
Yeah.
Have you heard that theory that he married Mary Magdalene?
Yes.
And then he dies, and she has a boatload of gold, and she takes it to America and hides it.
I've never heard that before. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a what's going around, a theory.
Well,
And there's seven
there's a lot of
seven
stuff, right?
hills.
Yeah.
There's 7 hills that have gold buried under them, and supposedly they're all here in New Mexico, not far from where I live.
That's interesting.
Buried. Supposedly they're buried in tunnels, not above ground, but.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I feel like the Vatican is the place where they hide the gold and all the stuff. That you're never allowed to go down there, and but there is the stories of the what are they? And Paul and I used to watch The Curse of Oak Island, if you can imagine. It's been on for 15 years or something. They found nothing.
Yeah, I've watched that.
We used to love it. Actually, we were actually going to go and visit visit the island because it's here in Canada. But then, it just, of course, the pandemic happened and all that stuff. But then, it just got so ridiculous. It's just, it's fascinating, yes, but in one hand, but on the other hand, it's slower than I see some of the memes where they have the skeleton waiting to find something on Curse of Oak Island. But I was.
I got tired of watching it because they never found anything.
Yeah.
They found some things, but they never found what they were claiming they were looking for.
Right. The Knights Templar, though, is what I was thinking about. Is so when you were talking about Mary and coming to Canada, and I mean, they're definitely hiding stuff. You know, there's definitely something, and I do think that the JC line is being guarded by the Knights Templar and all that. You know, and I do wonder, like sometimes I wonder if they'll find the Ark of the Covenant. And I'm saying that with air quotes because I think I think the ark is what is underneath what I think Artis has talked about with the chair where Simon Peter sits
The
on.
mercy seat.
Yeah, So
Yeah.
you know, but sometimes I wonder, will they will they find, you know, a fake Ark of the Covenant in Curse of Oak Island, and then that will be part of their plan of, you know, how to do, you know, the whole JC fake, you know, Project Bluebeam,
Camp of the Saints and all that.
all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, they gotta
Yeah.
tie it in because it is a part of their narrative, right? I mean, it's been on TV for 15
Yeah.
years, indoctrinating people. So there's something with it that it kind of catches. But is there anything that you saw in the video like that stood out?
I had a hard time writing things down. I wrote one
Yeah.
thing down, but then my question got answered after I kept
Yeah.
listening.
I
But
d-
what I did, what I did catch is that Artis was saying, talking about Judas Iscariot and chariots,
Mhm.
and how what I got out of it was he must have been. It sounded like what she was saying is he got hit by a chariot, like the road was too narrow, and
That's what I
he
heard.
was
Yeah.
he he must have been a wide body kind of guy. If he couldn't get out of the way, and I was wondering if if one of the chariots had the size on it, you know, the iron size on the wheels, like you saw in Ben Hur and whatnot. Is that what cut him open? And in the Bible, it says that he fell off a cliff and got hung up on a tree or something. If I remember it right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to unmute Artis. I don't know why she's muted, but I'm just trying to unmute her if it's possible. You can invite Artis.
I muted her. Just
Okay.
kidding.
Golden, have you tried again and see if you can unmute yourself? Because it just had a sign that came up and said, have her unmute herself, or something like that. A red sign came up when I tried to unmute you. Nothing? Let me try again then, if nothing has come up. See, it says, you can invite artists to turn on their microphone. I can't read it fast enough. Okay, turn on your microphone. It tells me to tell you to turn on your microphone. That's unfair.
You might have to go out and come back in.
That's weird. I do not know. Okay, she went off and she'll pop back on. But yeah, there was one other thing that I thought was hilarious, but I can't. I have to wait till she comes on. If she comes back, there she is. Let me invite her back up. There we go. Let's try that. There you go. That was weird.
Hey, I must have got dumped.
That
I was
weird.
talking to him. I don't hear myself.
And you were like,
Yeah.
wonder why they're ignoring me?
Yeah.
We weren't trying to ignore you. I did hear something in that video that I thought was really funny and interesting for today's times. But you know how in your video, you said the Gentiles, they got the death penalty back then, you know? But look at them
Yeah.
now. They're begging you to do the Torah. Like they're telling you it's the right thing, and they're telling you to do the Torah. You know, like that's
But
great.
I thought that if the Gentiles did the Torah, they would get executed for that.
That's right. That was what it was like in the past. But now everybody's doing the Torah.
But there shouldn't be, because they should be doing the 7 Noahides. And if they do the actual Torah, then they will still be under the condemnation.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing today.
Yeah.
Just they haven't clamped down on it yet.
So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the messianic Hebrews, they're not supposed to be doing it, right?
Oh, sound. Uh-oh. I have a puzzle. I just won a prize.
Jackpot.
Yeah. Jackpot. It sounds like they're not supposed to do it. And, you know, with the whole new thing coming out with the no-hide laws, it could change. I mean, it could make things really iffy for them doing it. I don't know. But like you said, Artist, that there was something you said in one of your videos that they might save their bodies, but they won't save their souls or something like that if they do the Torah. Or like if they're worshiping, they're worshiping Yahweh doing the Torah or whatever. Do you remember saying that?
No.
Okay, there was something.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm kind of got distracted because something popped up on my screen. I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's not good. That's okay.
There we go. I got it down.
They're fighting you, aren't they?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Anybody want to come up and join and talk in
Yeah, that'd be good.
or have questions?
It's just us, just like Discord, guys. If you want to come up and talk, just
Yeah, it's just plain us.
yeah, it's just us.
Hey, Miss Daisy, you want to go up and talk to him?
Aw. And then she starts to bark.
Hi, Daisy.
Daisy says, "Everybody's
So,
speaking to me."
Artist. So Judas Iscariot, from what you were saying tonight on the video, he died, like he got ran over or pinned between a chariot and a wall or something like that, and that's how his innards spilled out.
Yeah, that's one part, but then there in the Bible we've got 2 different accounts, which is weird. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where he falls off a cliff or something, or jumps off a cliff and
Right.
gets hung on a tree, and his innards come out. Basically saying he committed, you know what, unalived himself on purpose.
And what's interesting is in the text, it says he's the son of Simon in English, but in the Greek it does not say that. It says the Judean Iscariot Simon. So it was actually Simon that was the betrayer.
Oh, it was Simon. Yeah,
Simon Peter,
yeah.
Yeah, not the
the
son
first
of.
pope, the first pope,
Yep,
the first pope, right?
yep. He was the one that did it.
So
Hi, Vita.
when I was way before I found your channel, and I was deep in that one guy who thought he was Jesus Christ, he said that that Simon and Peter, that Simon was Peter's son, and that JC used to hang out with him, like before he got baptized and all that. They grew up. Basically, he used to be their best friend and hung out in their house, and that's how Simon Judas knew about him, and I can't remember what else he was saying, but I don't know if there was any truth to it. Have you ever heard that Jesus Christ, James the Just, hung out with Simon and Peter as they were before he started his ministry?
I've never heard of it, but are they not? No, I was going to say they are not brothers, but hi, Hi, Sam. Your mom said you're on tonight. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, I told
Hi,
them we were on the
Sam.
other tablet. They're all
Hi, Vita
saying hello.
Marianne.
Yeah, my mouse froze up. I couldn't even type to anybody. I don't know what happened.
He's saying hello to y'all.
Hi, Sam.
Doesn't know how to work the controls much on that yet, but
Yeah.
I just thought I'd let y'all know that
No, it's great. I'm glad she's
Sam's
here.
on there.
Yeah. It's awesome. And it's too bad we didn't have someone come up and talk to us, but
Yeah, we should have had more people come.
Vita, do you want to come up and talk? We haven't talked to you in a long time.
This was a great, to me, this was a very good video, as far as solid, good evidence.
Now I just got to, yes, it was. I'm going to see if I can invite Vita up here. I don't know how to, let me just see. Invite.
I'm not showing a way to invite her. That's weird.
I know. It's weird. The whole thing is
Because
weird.
normally I don't have any trouble.
I don't even see her name. Vita,
She can request,
yeah,
right?
Vita, can you request? There she is. Hi, Vita.
Hello. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Hi, Vita.
I'm doing so good. All glory to our Father.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, I miss you guys too. I'm so sorry I haven't been around with this whole chaos with the house thing, the health scare, and just wanted to be alone with Abba. And yeah,
That's probably a good thing to do, hey?
yes. It really prepares you, and you could feel the love. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm very grateful. But I do go on YouTube. I got to catch up on a lot of stuff that I do miss. But yes.
That's great.
I'm so happy to hear about your good medical news. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, just keep me in prayer because I got to do biopsy. And if I don't get a call back in 2 weeks, then I have to call her. And but she's like, honestly, Mariana, I'm not worried. This is how I feel. I'm 10% worried, 90% not worried. So that just gave me hope, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also I I believe that, through Abba talks through people, and there are like maybe 3 or 4 people are saying you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. So I think I'm taking that.
Yeah.
I'm taking that, yeah. And then I was talking to a lovely sister yesterday, and gives me another, confirmation to stick with my greens and cut off the sugar. And I'm so grateful for Sister Natalie.
That's
Sister
awesome.
Natalie.
Yeah, Natalie's
yes.
here.
Yes, I'm so grateful for her. She's so sweet.
She is.
Yes.
Yeah, her and her daughter Kayla.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been praying for you guys, especially artists, because I heard, I get like a notification, and I wanted to, reach out, but I just felt so sad, and I didn't want to bring sadness. I want to bring good vibes to you guys, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You always bring good vibes.
Oh, thanks, brother.
She does.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now that you're all caught up on the videos, and you've had...
Well, not some. I haven't cut up all. I have to catch up on a few.
Okay.
Yes, not all of it, some of it.
Yeah. What did you think of the one we just watched tonight? Did you get
Oh
a chance?
no, I haven't. So I need to catch up maybe four videos that I haven't watched, or maybe
Okay.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like way behind. So what your guys?
You'll catch
Yeah.
You'll catch
Yeah.
up.
Oh, definitely I will. Yes, it's good to know the truth. It's good to know who your true father is. It's yeah, no, yeah. So, like I was just talking to sister. Like it's always good to know. And when I found artists, it just made perfect sense. Even in the Bible, with Jesus saying, "Your God is not of my God is not of this world." The devil, like all that stuff. And who are you really serving? And it's just an eye opener. Like, who are you really serving? And who are you really calling God? Is it God our Father or God the Yahweh, right? So I just don't call God that much. I try not to say God. Try to say Father or Abba as,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's what most of us try to do too.
Yes. Because it's hard to break out of the God thing.
It is.
Because since I was a baby all the way till maybe a year, me knowing the truth.
I think there's a lot of indoctrination and there's a lot of hard things for people to break away from. And,
Oh, yes.
you know,
Just actually today when I was out and about, and I was just, when you're on Facebook and you get these notifications. Now churches want you to write NDA, like no, you can't talk bad, or you can't talk behind people's backs, or you can't even expose them, or you can get in trouble. In Canada, I just found that out on my
really?
Facebook feed.
I haven't seen that yet, but I'm sure it'll go
Yeah,
around.
it was one of the churches, CFM churches. They put the NDA, like, so you can't say anything what's going on about the church or nothing, or you get
wow.
like, yes.
So are you saying
Like if
that?
there's a scandal or something,
Yeah, because there was
you
a
can't
big
talk
scandal.
about scandals.
Yeah.
Are you in Canada? Where
Oh,
are you at?
I'm in Mississauga. I'm like 5 minutes away from Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's getting bad, a little bit bad here, like with the crimes and stuff here, and especially in Mississauga and Brampton. It's getting really bad.
Yeah.
And then everybody's religion difference is yeah.
So Vito, were you saying that on Facebook for the churches
Oh,
are
CFM. So far up the CFM. Yes, I don't know if it's gonna happen in like Roman Catholic Church, but so far as I know, it's the CFM that they have the non-disclosure. Like if you leave, you're not allowed to tell other people what's going on in the church, like if it's sexual abuse or all that stuff.
Like they're not going to talk. Like
What will they do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What will they do?
I haven't been at that church for 3 years. I never signed no disclosure. If I was there, it'd be like something's kind of fishy. Why do I need to sign something? I'm pretty sure Abba doesn't want us to sign anything that it's not from our Father.
No covenants. No.
Yes.
No oaths. Right.
Yes, that's pretty much what they're doing now. It's yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I would never. I mean, they would have to do that when you're first going in. I would suspect, right? Like so
well, when I was there, no, we didn't write nothing. When you had to do the online courses, you have to sign your name and stuff like that, but not the NDA or whatever, the non-disclosure. Yeah. Like when you leave, you can't say anything what's going around the church or nothing like that. So even if a person was sexually abused, you can't talk about that.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's CFM? What does that stand for?
So it's called Christ
Christian
Forgiveness Ministry.
Oh, Christ Forgiveness
Ministry.
So
yeah,
they won't forgive you if you get the NDA, right?
Yeah.
They won't forgive you if you talk about anything. But
Yeah, and
if you stay quiet,
so
it's okay.
if you go there now, you probably have to sign it before you join the church. If you don't sign it, you can't attend the church.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's in a group. I'll send it to you, brother. It's called the group that I'm in right now. It's called Unfollow Christ. What's it? Yeah, Unfollow David Lynn Christ Forgiveness Ministry. I'll actually post it on where you guys. It's right here. I'll send it to you on you two, all of you guys. Here.
I'm surprised that people fall for that though.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
for me, like if somebody asked me to sign something like that, I'd run in a second, right?
That's same like me, yeah. Same here. Where's artist?
I wouldn't be surprised if they passed them out to the whole congregation and made them, and just pressured them into signing it and turning them back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
weird.
I send it to you guys on
Yeah, that'd
Facebook
be interesting to
Messenger.
see.
Yes,
Check
I'll
it out.
send it to you. I send it to artist. I sent it to Shannon.
No conviction, wicked. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. It's
Hi, Stone.
I. So you guys got it, right?
You want to come up, Stone?
I was looking. I haven't got it yet, Vita.
Okay, maybe I sent. Oh no, that's the wrong word. I think I sent it.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, there we go.
Although it's like, let's just
Yeah,
see
I
what it
see.
says here. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's sad. It's very. I wanted to say, like, why would you guys sign something that doesn't, like, if your heart is heavy about this stuff, I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't even sign anything.
Yeah. It says here that if the DNA was signed, or if the DNA was entered under distress, or if the other party engages in misconduct, it could be grounds for invalidation. So that's good to hear. Because I'm sure they were all under stress or all under it was probably a bit of deception in getting you to sign it in the first place. It says if the other party breaches the DNA, you might have grounds to terminate or argue for reinforcement or reinforceability. These
I know
are, go ahead.
Sorry, in Jehovah's Witnesses, if you're a member and you find out that somebody has been SAing your child, you're not supposed to go to the police about it. You're supposed to go to the elders and tell them, and they handle it internally. They do not want the police involved. But now they've gotten in so much trouble for hiding all that stuff that people are just going to the police
It's so
right away.
shifty. It's so shifty,
And
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
when they do that, they get shunned for that. They get in trouble for that. Not they don't get sued for it, but they get just shunned by the congregation,
Yeah.
and it's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would suspect there's a lot of that in a lot of different places.
But why cover it up, right? Why cover it up? Like, the truth is out there. I just don't understand why to cover it up. I really feel bad for the girl and people who are going through this hard times at that church. Yeah.
Yeah, they cover it up to
They cover it because they want to come in and give them money, and if they find out about it, they'll find another place to go,
Yeah.
or don't go at all, which is what they should do. Is not go to church.
Yeah, I'm happy I don't go to church anymore.
Once you see this stuff,
I doubt
you don't want to go to church.
No. Yeah, no. Because I find that when you go to church, you lose the sight of who Abba is and who you really are. Because when you go to church, it's like they're training you to be who they want, who the pastor wants you to be,
Yeah.
not who Abba wants us to be, like our true brothers and sisters that love each other and not do evil upon each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Marie said,
Vita,
"What's in darkness must come to light. It exposes their fruits." Exactly, Vita.
Yeah. Yeah.
your name is your name Vita Mary Anna?
No,
Or-
it's
Marianne.
Mariana.
Where did the Vita come from? Is it
Because it's a short form for my last name.
okay? Here I am
Yeah.
calling you Vita, which is your last name.
Well, yes. Well, it's actually Vidovich, but yeah, I just put Vita as short.
Well, there's your nickname, right? It's your nickname, Vita.
That's it. Yes.
I thought
But
that
I
was
get
your
sick
name.
with the. No, it's Mariana.
Marianne, I'll have to remember that now.
Thank you. Yes, yes. No, I just whatever. Vita, Mariana. I'm easy with both.
Yeah, like guys go around calling each other basically their last names, you know. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, whatever your last name is.
Yeah.
You know. But either way, even Vita sounds cute, you know. It's a
Yeah.
pretty name, so
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's my dad's last name because
Maurice?
he's.
Marie says in Spanish, I think Vita means life.
Cool.
Oh,
That's
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, Marie would know. She's
Marie
speaks
speaks-
Spanish. Yeah.
I just don't know if I got. Yeah.
Technically, this is my actual spelling name. It's this.
Yeah, she speaks fluent.
So
yes.
it's Serbian. My dad picked that name, so it's technically Mirjana, but a lot of people call me Marjana, so I'm just call me Mariana.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like Marjana. I'm like, no, it's Mirjana.
It all sounds pretty. Even, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter which
thank-
one it is. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Miriana, that sounds like Miriam. Is that like
Well,
Serbian
so-
for Miriam?
Serbian. So when I research Mariana, it means star morning. Something sea star or something. I really don't know too much about it, but yeah, it seems like Miriam.
Is
Yeah, I'm not-
is
Vita
Mary-
Vita means long live.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. Is Marie and Mary and Miriam the same?
Marie and Miriam.
Well, because
Oh.
I heard that Mary and Marie are the same, but just two different languages or something.
Oh, really don't know. Yeah, 'cause I know my mom's her name is like she's Polish, so she'll call me Mariana as Polish, and then my actual real name is Mirjana, so it has that thick accent. Yeah, so and then I put Marianne so everybody could say my name somewhat like how it is.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm going by what the Catholics do, because the Catholics will switch up Marie and Mary.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, 'cause there's no Mary in it 'cause of the alphabet, like Mirjana. There's no Y, and there's not even an A. So it's like Mirjana.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's different. And then when I was researching Mirjana, it's something like star or sea. Hold on, let me see. I
Yeah.
really don't know too much. I don't really know like the meaning of names and stuff because I wasn't really into that.
Yeah. My
Do you speak any other languages besides English?
Polish and Serbian.
wow.
Cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So there's different people. Like you have those
Do you
languages.
do
Marie
you
has
communicate
different
with your
languages.
parents and your mother?
My mom is Polish. My
Do
dad
you
is
speak?
Serbian.
So you speak to them in their mother tongue?
Yes, we have to. Well, not really. It's more my grandma. I have to speak in Polish because she doesn't really understand English too much. And it means peace, world, star of the sea. There you go. Yeah.
Well, is there
That's a
any?
beautiful name.
Thank you. My dad picked it. My dad picks good name. My dad is very funny and so loving, and yeah.
There's a lot of different people like with different language skills in here.
Yeah.
Night artist, we love you.
Is she going?
I love you guys too. I'm gonna go stretch
Okay.
out for a little bit. I'm hurting a little bit, so
Okay. Have a good night.
Have a
Okay.
good
yeah.
night, artist.
I love you
Love
guys.
you too.
Love you.
Night.
You
Night.
too. Glad you came.
Me too.
Oh.
Yeah, if there's anybody that has any other questions for, pertaining to the video, or if anybody wants to come up still and talk, let us know. Otherwise, very shortly, we're just going to call it a night. I'm glad you came up, Vita, and talked to us. That was awesome.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm so sorry I haven't been around, but I'm always here.
You had to take care of yourself.
Yes, that's and like no stress, no just beautiful, quiet environment. And but I was thinking about you guys a lot, and I mostly go on Facebook to like see some, I noticed you guys send me some links that when you're going on live, and then when
Yeah.
I do try to come back, like I'm walking Romeo, because I walk Romeo from 7 and we come back at 8, it's too late to come back on. You guys are sometimes done, or I gotta do something, and then with the whole stress situation with my health, it's yeah.
No, you definitely have to take the time for yourself. Anybody
Yeah.
that's going through anything.
Yes. Yeah. We all have to go take time and, like cleansing,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, does everybody else feel the same way? If there's no more questions, we shut it down for the night. We're 2 hours in.
Yeah,
You think so, Shannon? And we'll come back
that was
on.
an awesome series. I really enjoyed it.
It is very good, and we'll
Oh,
come
I
back.
gotta watch it.
I'm looking
Yeah, you have to watch it, Vita.
looking forward to the
I
next.
will.
And we'll start the AI series again. We're going to try it a little differently this time, starting Friday, and we'll go from there. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, guys.
So Friday or
Oh, sorry,
different day?
sorry, Shannon. Thank you for saying that. It's Thursday. We're going to start doing Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
That was just a slip of the tongue. Good night,
So it'll
everyone
be
in the chat.
every Thursday, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes.
Okay, I'm down. Okay.
Okay. Good to see you.
Okay, love
Rita.
you all.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Night.
Bye, guys.
Night, everyone. I'm gonna.
Love everybody in the chat.
I'm just gonna put our contact up, and then that's it for the night.
All right, I'll
Good night,
see you
Beverly.
later.
Bye,
Good night,
guys.
Night.
Bye. Love you all.
Love you too.